The Galactic Council's emergency session had been running for 18 hours without resolution. In the Great Crystalline Chamber of Nexus Prime, representatives from 47 civilizations sat paralyzed by the scope of the crisis unfolding across 3 star systems. The Void Plague, a quantum phenomenon that randomly altered physical laws within affected regions, had already consumed 12 worlds and showed no signs of stopping. High Chancellor Vexthera of the Arctonian Dominion addressed the assembly with barely contained panic. Esteemed colleagues, our best scientists estimate total galactic contamination within 6 months. Every predictive model shows the same result: complete civilization collapse. The Crystalline Collective's representative flickered through colors of deep distress. Our hive mind processing capabilities become useless when mathematics itself becomes unreliable. We cannot adapt to chaos. Commander Zolt of the military Korathan Empire slammed his armored fist against the podium. Our fleets are helpless. How do you fight an enemy that changes the rules of physics every few hours? In the back of the chamber, largely ignored by the panicking delegates, sat the human representative, a middle-aged woman named Director Sarah Walsh, who had been quietly taking notes throughout the crisis briefing. If I may, she said, standing up. The chamber fell silent, not out of respect, but because most species still considered humans an oddity. Earth had been admitted to the Galactic Council only 2 years ago, and their contribution to galactic civilization remained unclear. Director Walsh, High Chancellor Vexthera said with forced politeness, while we appreciate Earth's perspective, this crisis requires species with extensive experience in quantum mechanics and multidimensional physics. Sarah smiled politely. Actually, Chancellor, this crisis requires species with extensive experience in chaos. And as far as I can tell, we're the only ones who have that. A ripple of confused murmurs passed through the assembly. The Zephyrian delegate's translator crackled with static before managing. Explain. Well, Sarah began, projecting a holographic display from her simple human tablet. You've all evolved on stable worlds with predictable environments. Your civilizations developed around the concept that the universe follows consistent rules. She gestured to the data streaming across her display. Earth never gave us that luxury. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, magnetic pole reversals, supervolcanic winters, continental drift. Our planet has been trying to kill us in new and creative ways for 4 million years. The synthesis representative, a collective AI consciousness, processed this information and responded in its monotone voice. Chaos resistance does not equate to chaos utilization, doesn't it? Sarah asked. Let me show you something. Her tablet connected to the chamber's main display system, revealing footage from the affected star systems. While most species had evacuated in panic, human ships could be seen moving freely through regions where physics had become unreliable. How? Demanded Commander Zolt. Because we don't fight chaos, Sarah explained. We improvise with it. When gravity suddenly points sideways, we adjust our thrust vectors. When time flows backwards for 30 seconds, we run our engines in reverse. When energy weapons randomly turn into flower petals, we switch to kinetic projectiles. She pulled up technical schematics. Human ships don't rely on predictable physics. We build redundancy into everything because we assume something will go wrong. Multiple propulsion systems, modular components, backup plans for our backup plans. High Chancellor Vexthera leaned forward intently. Are you suggesting humans can operate normally in the affected regions? Normally? No. But we can operate. More importantly, we can study the phenomenon up close while everyone else is running away. The chamber erupted in excited chatter as the implications became clear. While every other species saw the Void Plague as an existential threat, humans saw it as just another Tuesday. What do you propose? Asked the Crystalline Collective. Sarah's smile widened. Give us access to your quantum research data and a handful of volunteer scientists who don't mind getting motion sick. We'll figure out how this thing works and how to stop it. That's remarkably confident for such a young species, Commander Zolt observed. Commander, humans have been solving impossible problems with insufficient resources since we discovered fire, Sarah replied. The only difference now is the scale. 3 months later, the Galactic Council reconvened to hear Sarah's report. The Void Plague had been contained, analyzed, and ultimately converted into a controlled phenomenon that could be used for advanced terraforming projects. How? High Chancellor Vexthra asked, still struggling to process the impossible success. We stopped thinking of it as a plague and started thinking of it as a tool, Sarah explained. The quantum fluctuations aren't random, they're responding to localized consciousness patterns. Once we figured out the feedback mechanism, we could direct the changes instead of just enduring them. The synthesis representative flickered with what might have been admiration. Humans weaponized chaos itself. We didn't weaponize it, Sarah corrected. We domesticated it. There's a difference. As the session concluded and representatives began filing out, High Chancellor Vexthra approached the human delegation. Director Walsh, the Council has been discussing humanity's role in galactic civilization. We've decided to create a new position, Crisis Response Coordinator. Interesting title, Sarah mused. What would that involve? Essentially, every time the universe tries to kill us in some unprecedented way, we call you. Sarah laughed. Chancellor, that sounds like a typical Tuesday for us. We accept? As the human delegation prepared to leave, the Arctonian leader couldn't help but ask one more question. Director Walsh, what's the secret to humanity's success in chaotic situations? Sarah paused at the chamber's entrance, considering the question seriously. We learned a long time ago that the universe doesn't owe us stability. So instead of building our civilization around the assumption that things will stay the same, we built it around the certainty that they won't. She smiled. Turns out, that makes all the difference.